Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ed Pozzuoli, CEO of Tripp Scott. On behalf of all of us at Tripp Scott, we wish you, your families, and your businesses well during this crisis. Today, we're going to be discussing the recent legislation passed by Congress and its implications on both employees and employers. Now, with respect to the recent legislation, let's talk first about what Broward County has done. Broward County has restricted business activity to essentially eliminating non-essential business activity in all of Broward. The one thing you need to know, even if you're considered non-essential business in Broward County, you're still able to conduct a minimum business operations, which include protecting your business assets, protecting your clients, working remotely from home, as well as being able to conduct the basic administration that would allow for you to make payroll and continue business operations if possible. And we're here to assist you with that. Secondly, the state of Florida has also issued certain guidelines that, in coordination with local authorities, that also have restricted access to our beaches, as an example, and some travel restrictions coming from the Tri-County area in New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Last is that Tripp Scott will continue to monitor local, state, and federal government responses to this as they develop. As of this taping, Congress is now considering an economic impact stimulus package, and we should have additional updates for you as soon as we can. Now, to further discuss the recent legislation, we have my fellow director, Catalina Avalos. Catalina, welcome.
Thank you.
You know, on March 18th, the President signed into law the Family's First Coronavirus Response Act. What specifically does that act provide?
So two of the acts that were included in there were to provide an expansion of the Family Medical Leave Act and as well as paid sick leave for some of the employees.
Okay.
And it also offers some tax credits for the employers.
All right, so let's talk about the expanded medical leave piece. Or personal leave.
So you have the Family Medical Leave Act, the expansion of that, which is going to provide some benefits for employees who have basically kids under 18 at home that can't go to school because of the closures due to the COVID-19.
Okay, and other employee benefits?
They're going to also receive sick leave, paid sick leave for any employees who have been impacted by the COVID-19, either by virtue of they have been infected or they are waiting to be diagnosed, they exhibit the symptoms, or they have they're caring for someone who has been impacted, as well as for parents of kids who cannot go to school.
Okay, and because the schools are closed for purposes of this, right?
Correct. As long as the schools are closed, that'll be in place. Obviously, once the school's closed, that will no longer be available to the employees.
And what size businesses are impacted by this?
Pretty much small and mid-sized businesses. Any businesses with less than 500 employees are going to be impacted by this. For the Family Medical Leave Act, you have to have an employee that is worked for you for more than 30 days. For the sick leave, there is no such requirement.
Let's switch over now to some of the benefits that came out of this act for employers. How are employers to deal with this?
The employers basically are going to get a tax credit, whereas before they were going to have to apply for the tax credit. The IRS in some recent guidelines is saying, no, you don't have to wait and apply, you're going to get the benefit immediately.
And what does that mean immediately? Taxes that they would otherwise have to pay now?
So when the employers do their payroll taxes and calculate those, they're going to have to work together with, let's say a company like ADP or whoever does their payroll to determine what that tax credit is, and they're able to keep it at that point, as opposed to have to send it to the federal government and then that ask for it to be returned.
So whatever the shares of contribution the employer would make, say federal taxes or Social Security or those kind of things, that could actually be a credit immediately?
That could be an immediate credit. Now, there are some caps that the Act talks about, and it depends on if it's an employee caring for themselves or if it's an employee caring for another. But yes, the point is that the tax credits are going to be made available immediately.
Okay, and what is a client to do now with respect to making sure the details of this are done correctly?
Well, they need to understand the Act, right? They need to understand it from two perspectives. What employees are covered and how am I going to handle my payroll to make sure that as an employer I'm getting the tax credit and the benefit of the tax credit.
And what are we doing now going forward to track this?
Well, we're monitoring the Department of Labor website, IRS websites almost on a daily basis, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day to see what additional information is coming out. We're also waiting for the Department of Labor to give us some guidance as to what employers under 50 employees are going to be exempt and under what circumstances, and a couple other exemptions that the Secretary of Labor was given the authority to implement.
And if someone watching this wanted more information, where would they go?
Well, they can certainly go to our website, they can contact me, they can pay attention to our news releases, which we're trying to get out on a regular basis, and we are here happy to answer any questions that they may have.
Catalina, thank you so much for providing that information. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.